Good morning, all of you. And last session we started the concept that is the operators, right? Arrays. Okay. So this is the concept which we started in the last session, right? So normally, if you go with the non-primitive data types, then where actually we need to take more variables to store the data. So to overcome those issues by using non-primitive data types. Okay. So from that we are discussing about the arrays. What is array? Array is the container which is used to store the values, which is used to store the values, which is used to store the values. JVM will
Your
treat the
screen
array
is
as a,
not visible actually.
sorry.
A
You
screen
please
is
share
not
your
visible.
screen.
Hello.
Hello, your screen is not visible, sir.
Okay, okay, okay.
Can you please share the screen?
Yeah, yeah. Sure. Okay, JVM will treat array as an object, and arrays will be stored in the heap memory, and we can store the values, and we can retrieve the values based on the index positions. The beauty of array is we can store the values, we can retrieve the values based on the index positions. Based on the index positions. So arrays index position will start from the 0th index position, and it will be start. So when we store the values, first value will be stored in the first index position, and after the value will be stored based on the index positions. Like first value will be stored at the index position, and from second it will be the values will be stored like this: 0th index position, first index position, like that. So next point is the last index of array is n minus 1. Note n means size of the array. At the time of array declaration, array size is mandatory. Array size is mandatory. Array size is mandatory. And we discussed about array declaration. We are going to declare array name and data type. The syntax for that one is this is the data type and variable name, and this is the size, array initialization, and we see few of the programs, and we'll try to understand. I can write few of other programs, and then we'll try to understand that one. So now where actually I'm taking one Java file. I'm taking some demo.java, and there is a file. In the file I'm opening public class is the demo, and from here to here this is the scope of the class, and I am taking main method, public static void main method, and the string aux, and from here to here this is the scope of the main method. And here what is the syntax, like int arr equal to new, I am mentioning with size, I am defining with some size. The size is, I would like to give some 5, and okay. So array is the static container, so we need to, at the time of declaration, we need to define the size. We need to define the size. So I said the beauty of array is we can store the values, we can retrieve the values based on the index position. Now the array size is the 5. Now we can store the values. We can store the values. We can store the values based on the index positions. So at the index position 0, I want to store the value some 80. And the same way, I would like to store the remaining values as well. I would like to store the remaining values as well. This is the array. This value will be stored at the index position 0. I would say 0, and this value will be stored at the index position 1. And the same way, I will do remaining as well. Remaining as well, same way I can do. Okay, so here also I am organizing the code, and here also, yeah, this will be stored at the index position 2, and here also I can mention the value some 60, and here it will be stored at the index position 3, and here also I'm storing the value some 50, and here also this is the index position some 4, and here the value is some, I would say, 40, and here the size. Okay, these are the 4 subjects which I am taking, and meaning what happens internally when I store the values, what happens internally generally. So there is a one container will be created, one container will be created. Okay, first value will be added at the 0th index position, and the second value will be added at the so how it will be, I can show you. So the container, one container will be created at the time of declaration, and there are 5 I'm taking, 1, 2, and this is 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so this is the index position 0, index position 0, and this is the 1, this is the 2, and this is the 3, and this is the 4. Okay, and the first value will be stored here. First value I am giving some 90, and here I am giving the value some 80, and here I am giving the value some 70, here I am giving the value 60 and 50. Okay, 50. This is how actually I store the values. I store the values. Okay, fine. So here completely I'm storing the values based on the index position only. Okay, fine, very good. Now I want to print the values. For example, whatever the value I stored at the position, at the index position number 2, so that value I want to print. If I want to print that value, then what is the process? System.out.println, system.out.println, and here I can mention array of at what index position you want to retrieve. So I am giving the index position 2. Now what will be the output? Then it can able to print whatever the value which I stored at the index position 2, that value will be printed in the console. So this is the 60, and the same I can go to wherever the file is available. You can go to the file location, command prompt javac demo.java, file has successfully compiled, java demo. Are you guys clear with my statements? So what I did actually, so through the Java program, I stored all the values in single variable. Now this is the variable which is holding all the values, and it is holding the values based on the index questions. It is holding the values based on the index questions. So from that, if I want to retrieve any value, you can retrieve based on the index question. That is the one way. But as of now, my requirement is I don't want to retrieve single element. I don't want to retrieve single value. I want to retrieve all the values. If I want to retrieve all the values, there are 2 ways actually. One is the by using loop is the one way, and second one is the by using for each loop. So as of now, we'll try to understand by using looping statements, and there are 2 ways to retrieve the values. First one is we can go ahead with the looping statement. Looping statement. We'll go with the looping. statements, and then we can retrieve the values. So there is a for loop I'm taking, and in the for loop, so how much the size of this one is 5, and what is the last index position 4. So here we are retrieving the values, storing the values based on the index position only, right? So here what is the initial value? Int I equal to 0. Initial value is 0. Next condition. Condition is I less than or equal to 4. Why only 4? I am storing the value, retrieving the values based on the index positions. Okay, this is the size. This is the index position. So you should take 4. Okay, fine, very good. Next up, increment or decrement. I want to retrieve the values forward direction. So that is the reason I would like to mention increment. Now I am going to system.out.println, and here I could mention I value. I value. Here I could mention arrow dot index position I value. Now I can able to print retrieve all the values. Yes or no? I can go to there wherever file is available. You can go to that file location java c demo.java, and I compile the file, and you can see here I receive all the values or not. Yes, right? Are you guys clear with my statements or not? So there are two ways to retrieve the values. There are this is the second scenario. First scenario is if you want specific value, you can you can retrieve the specific value. That is the scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is I want to retrieve all the values, whatever the values, the variable. This is the variable, right? This is the variable. Whatever the values it is holding, I want to retrieve all the values. How could I retrieve? How I can retrieve? I retrieve by using looping statements. This is the one way to retrieve the values. And next concept you have for each loop. For each loop. So with the help of for each loop also can retrieve. This is the one program you can do, guys. You can take a screenshot of it, and this is the one program you can do. And there is a second uh, thing also. This I can comment this program. I would say from here to here I can comment this one. Okay. Now we need to retrieve the values based on the index position. We can retrieve the values. This is the one way to retrieve the values, and there is second way. There is second way to retrieve the values. That is for each loop, guys. That is for each loop. So for each loop, what is the syntax for the for each loop? So for is the keyword, and from here to here, this is the scope of the for each loop. So all the values where initially will be stored. This is the variable, right? So that variable you can take here ARR, and there is a symbol that is the for each symbol, and that I'm storing. So here what happens internally, whatever the values it is holding, that values it will give to one by one, and the data type of this one is enter. That's it. I'm simply I am going to here, and here actually I am taking system.out.println, and here I can mention the statement as I am saving this one, and I could go to here java c demo.java. You can see here all the values are coming. Now you guys come, you can come here. So compared to this one, this is also giving the same results, and this is also giving the same results. So which one is the recommended one? Always second one is the recommended one. Why? Because so compared to it will increase the lines of code, and this is the recommended approach. This is the recommended approach to retrieve the values. So regularly we will use this one to retrieve the values. This one. Are you guys clear with my statements or not? Second one is the recommended. There are two ways to retrieve the values. One is the looping statement. Second one is the for each loop. For each loop is the always recommended approach. Always recommended approach. Always recommended approach. Okay, fine. Now you guys are clear. For each meaning, so initially all the variables it is having, it is holding a initial variable. This is the initial variable, and this what it will do when you mention the this symbol, it will give one by one value to this variable, one by one value to this variable, one by one value to this variable. Okay, one by one value to this variable. Whatever the it is holding, that values it will be printed. That is the purpose of for each loop. And here there are several other various scenarios. So basically here this comment line, I am removing the comment line. And yeah, now instead of this I would say index position, you can mention property also. Property also, I dot arr dot length property, where we have the length property. And so instead of index position, you can mention the length property as well. Length property as well. I'm saving this one, and you can run this one as well. So now also you will get the same result. Java C. This is the data type, right? Hmm. Yeah. అవి మెథడ్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఎరేస్లో ఉండవు అది. ఎరేస్లో ఎరేస్ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ ప్రీడిఫైన్డ్ మెథడ్స్. This is the property. Arrays don't have any predefined methods. So it can store only same data type. Like if you whatever the data type you can define, and it can store the same values, and you can print the same values. Arrays don't have any methods. This is also length property. Arrays don't have any predefined methods. Arrays don't have any predefined methods. Hmm? Yes. Okay, this way, this is the one way to store the values. Instead of adding the values like this, you can directly can add in single line also. So single line, so where you can take curly braces, and here you can add the values like 60, and I would like to add 40. So this is like this, you can directly add the values. So if you add the values like this also, if you add the values like this also, the values will be stored based on the index position. The values will be stored the based on the index position, meaning this value will be stored at the index position 0. This value will be stored at the index position 1. This value will be stored at the index position 2, like this. Like this, the value will be stored so on like this. Okay, so you can directly can pass the values like this also. Okay, I'm saving the file, and if I print the values, so now also you will get the same values. Java C and Java demo. Java C and Java demo. Java C and Java demo. And there is a main method, right? This is the main method. This is the concept coming from the access specifiers, and this is the concept coming from the methods, and this is the concept coming from arrays, coming from the arrays. So this is the data type. This is the data type int, right? Instead of int, you can store the string values also. We can store the string values also. Okay. So whatever the, like this is the program, right? Whatever the set of statements we are writing, all the set of statements will be stored in the based on the index position in the string. The data type is the string. The data type is the string. This is the variable name. This is the variable name. Instead of this variable name, if you want to take another any other thing, yes, you can take. You can take any other variable name also, no issue. But the data type is the, make sure the data type is the string only. The data type is the string only. and this is the variable name. This variable name you can take anything. So usually we will write like as the aux. Instead of aux, you can take anything. You can take anything. Okay? You can take anything. So these are the some. This is coming from the arrays concept. Now all the statements will be stored in the array based on the index positions. Based on the index positions. So this is coming from the arrays concept. This is coming from the arrays concept. So these are the areas you should be familiar with the arrays. So what are the areas? How to store the values, how to retrieve the values, and how we can retrieve the values by using for each loop. How we can retrieve the values by using for each loop. These are the areas you should be familiar. And after this, in the single dimensional array, there are two types, right? We discussed actually. One is actually there are two types arrays we have. There are two types. So first one is single dimensional array, and second one is multi-dimensional array. First one is single dimensional array, and the second one is multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array. Okay, so single dimensional meaning we can add the values in single direction. We can add the values. We can add the values in single direction. In single direction. Single direction. But in case of multi-dimensional array, we can add the values in two directions. In two directions. Two directions. So that I can take on MS Paint, and through that I will try to expand. I'm taking MS Paint. So in the MS Paint, now we are discussing about the multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array meaning okay. Now I'm storing the values in multiple directions. So column meaning from top to line. Top to bottom is called column. Left to right is called row. Top to bottom is called column. Left to right is called row. Now I want to store the values. I want to store the values. So first the values will be stored like this. I could say this is the 0 0 index position 0 0. 0 0 meaning first one is RC. This is called RC. R row column. Row column 0 0, and row 0 column 1. Column 1. Next row 1 column 0 and 1 1. Row 1 column 1. Row 1 column 1. So the values will be stored like this, guys. The values will be stored like this. This is I'm taking values some 900, and I'm taking some 800, and I'm storing the values some 700, and here also I'm taking the values some 600. So this is called a row. This is row, and from top to bottom this is the column. This is the column. This is the column. In multi-dimensional array, the values will be stored in the two directions. Okay, the two directions. The values will be stored based on the index positions 0 0 and 0 1 and 1 0 and 1 1. So the values also I can store the based on the index positions. The same whatever the picture I brought here. So the same I can write a Java program that I will show you, and where actually I can go there, and then here I can create one more Java file I'm creating. Here I could mention the file name as multi-dimensional dot Java. Multi-dimensional, and this is the scope of the class, and we have this is the scope of main method. I'm taking the main method, public static void main, and string aux, string aux, and from here to here this is the scope of the main method. And now I would like to store the values multi-dimensional array. So what is the syntax for the single dimensional array? This is the syntax for the single dimensional array, right? And in case of multi-dimensional array, we will mention double array. That's it. If you know how to write the single dimensional array, then you can easily manage the multi-dimensional array. Single dimensional will mention only single time of square braces. In case of multi-dimensional array, we will mention the two times of the square braces. Okay, so this I can show again one the size. If you want, you can mention the size. New int two times, and here also new int here also two times. So here I would like to mention uh, the size is 2 and 2, and I am defining like this. So now I want to store the values arr dot index position 0 and 0, index position 0 and 0 equal to, here I would like to store some 900. The same way I can copy this one, and remaining also I can store the values. Remaining also I can store the values. Here I am changing the values, some 800, some 600, 500. 0, 0 meaning row 0, column 0. Next row 0, column 1. Next row 1, column 0, 1, 1 meaning row 1, column 1. Okay, fine. The values also stored. Okay, that is also okay, very good. Now I want to retrieve the value. If I want to retrieve the value, system dot out dot println, and for example, if you want to take a specific value, that value can mention here. That value can mention here, and I'm saving this one, and then I'm show you how we can run the program, and then I will show you auto cmd and java c multi dimensional dot java, and again java. There is a spelling mistake. Yeah, You can see here 600 values printing. 600 values printing. So I want to print you all the values. I want to print all the values instead of printing a single value. I want to print all the values. Then you can print by using for loop also. For loop. So actually, multi-dimensional array is not much important for I would say practice purpose. You can practice one or two programs. Okay. So now I'm taking for loop, and there are two, right? So here int I equal to 0 and I less than or equal to 2 index positions 0 1 1 only, right? 0 1 0 and 1, or else you can mention 2. Next up, I plus plus operator, and again you can take inside for loop, and you can take here also one more for loop. So here also can take int j equal to 0 and I less than j less than 2, j less than 2, and j plus 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 plus. Here you can take the system dot out dot println, system dot out dot println, and here you can mention the values. Here is this is the 0, this is the I, and this is the j, this is the set. Okay, I'm saving this one, and then I can go there, and then I can do the Java C. You can print all the values. You can print all the values. But this is one way to store the values. Instead of writing like this, you can write in single line also. You can add the values in single line also. That is like this. Like you can go to that location, and you can take there are uh, curly braces, and instead of this curly braces, here you can take some 900 and 800. Okay, again we can take some 700 and 700, some 500 I'm taking. Like this also can take. Now I can save this one, and you can go ahead, and then you can compile, and then you can run Java C multi-dimensional Java C C. Okay, so directly also can assign the values, and instead of directly we can add the values based on the index positions, based on the index positions. So this is arrays. So you can practice one or two programs with multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array. Only yeah. So this is the all the areas. So what is array and the types of array? There are two types. One is the single dimensional array. Second one is the multi-dimensional. Second one is the multi-dimensional array. One is the single dimensional array. Second one is the multi-dimensional array. So in the arrays concept, this is the syllabus, guys. So I hope we covered all the syllabus. So this is the array definitions, and arrays will be stored based on the index positions. And there are two types of arrays: single dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. In the single dimensional array, you can declare, if you write declare like this, that is also valid. If you declare like this is also valid. And in initialization of the array meaning, you can define with the size. Okay, and here this is the one program. You can define the size and you can do the value. This is the for each row. We are setting the value and we are printing the values. We are printing the values. Accessing the values meaning we are retrieving the values one by one. We are retrieving the values one by one. So instead of giving, there is a length property. With the help of length property also we can retrieve the values. That is also we learned. So after this there is a multi-dimensional. In the multi-dimensional array, so there are actually, we can directly store the values. That values you can retrieve the values. You can retrieve the values. Okay. So this is the syllabus which we'll be having in the arrays. Okay. I hope we covered all the syllabus in the arrays. You guys, please do the assignment and then upload in the Sajid website. And so next session we'll go ahead with the strings concept.